We've covered a lot of stories this year, and some of them have really gotten your attention. I've looked at the numbers, and here are the most read stories we've covered in 2020. The top story on our website this year was written in March, when the pandemic first arrived in the United States, and New Hampshire's first recorded coronavirus patient went to a private event after they were told to stay isolated.
I'm angry. I think going against health department warnings to not be around others and going to a huge event with a lot of other people is really disrespectful to the community.
People were shocked at the time, but it turns out this kind of story has been copy-pasted all year as some people ignored warnings and just kind of did what they wanted. I've seen this before. It sounds like the kind of person who hides a zombie bite from the rest of the group in a horror movie. The second most read story on the list is about Tom Brady. I'm shocked. New Englanders love that guy more than I love photos of tiny dogs in silly outfits. In September, Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach Bruce Arians was very critical of Tom Brady's performance in his debut game on the team, which they lost, and you can imagine the reaction from Brady's haters and lovers too after seeing that headline. This one's a good fact from Maine police that went viral. Apparently this year was not the time to abbreviate when signing legal documents. East Millinocket police shared a warning that writing just the number 20 instead of 2020 on legal documents could lead to potential fraud. Not too hard to just add some numbers after the old 20. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that in 2021. A lot of you freaks were really interested in this bear, just as interested as it was in smelling human feet. The bear was caught sneaking up to a Massachusetts man in his backyard and sniffing his feet before walking away. Just imagine waking up to a bear with a foot fetish. Bears weren't the only animals we had to worry about in 2020. In June, we had to add giant jellyfish to the list. Massachusetts beachgoers were warned of a large number of lion's mane jellyfish, 5-foot-long suckers with tentacles that could be over 100 feet long, that were spotted off the coast this summer. Dangerous giant jellyfish, just add it to the pile. George Floyd's death at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer caused us all to reflect, and it was the focus of nationwide protests, counter-protests, and legislative change, some of it still being worked on today. In Boston, many readers followed some of the first major protests in the city. On Sunday, May 31st, thousands of people marched to the Massachusetts State House in overwhelmingly peaceful demonstrations. But after night fell, unrest broke, leading to dozens of arrests, some injuries, and property damage. Rounding out our top stories of 2020 is another sad one. Maine saw its first fatal shark attack in July after a swimmer was killed while swimming near the shore. People had a lot of questions, and a lot of you tuned into our conversation with shark expert James SULIKOWSKI about the attack. He explained what factors might have contributed and what people can do to avoid a shark encounter of their own.
We as human beings in a wetsuit kind of swimming look and resemble an injured or sick seal, right? So we're like an easy target. And so they're moving through the water and they're moving like a Mack truck. That Mack truck has teeth, and they're looking to incapacitate, knock out their prey item.
Well, that's some of the top stories from 2020. Everything our readers and viewers were most interested in during what I think is safe to call one of the craziest years in recorded history. Will 2021 be better? Well, it had better be. But we appreciate you trusting us to bring you the best news coverage during the good times and the bad, and I hope the new year brings something a bit better for everyone.